People of Reddit, what was the most NSW event you ever stumbled upon in high school? In middle school the health teacher went to show a video on the projector and I guess he had pee on his video player. He offered everyone A's to keep quiet. He was fired then went to work for a Catholic school. He was fired and then went to work for a Catholic school. Now I understand everything else in this thread. This was junior high but one kid who we suspected was gay gave another kid who we did not suspect was gay a BJ in the bathroom stall. And for what? A hollow foil Clefairy Pokemon card. Service rendered. Goods received. Just a standard transaction. I went to a boarding school my freshman year of high school and a few weeks in, I volunteered to help walk our librarian's dog for her while her leg was healing after an injury. So I was walking this huge dog through the woods around campus when he suddenly sniffed the air and just ripped the leash out of my hands and took off into the underbrush. I started chasing after him when I heard screaming and yelling. I thought, oh god, this dog mauled someone and I'm going to get expelled. Broke through a clearing and there were 5 half-naked upperclassmen trying to put their clothes on and scatter while this dog is joyously barking and jumping up on and licking them. TLDR accidentally interrupted an orgy in the woods with my librarian's dog. Yes, it was a co-ed school and yes, both genders were represented. Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Dog days. Went to teacher's room to get some papers that my Portuguese teacher had forgotten and stumbled at my gym and biology teachers kissing each other really hard over the meeting table. I mean, they didn't even notice me, and oh, it was a Catholic shul, and they were both married BTW. My face when I returned to class without the papers must have been priceless. I'm usually more of a lurker myself here so wasn't expecting this amount of attention. Hahaha, thanks for all folks. Hope you've liked it. Were they married to each other or other people? A girl, freshman, went viral on Snapchat because the guy she was giving head to recorded her and said it was terrible during the recording. She's now dating and cheating on the guy we called Cherry Picker. The guy we called Cherry Picker. What? I go to Catholic school and besides a teacher chili pea scandal every year, I am not kidding, the kid that played the P at Runhub intro on the drums that is spreading around the internet happened at my school. I'm a teacher who teaches in a high school. First day on the job, had 2 kids beaten cheeks in the back of one of my shop cars. Should specify I'm an automotive teacher. Pretty NSW if you ask me. Beating cheeks is a euphemism for running away, where I am from. We had many PCs in our school, and every computer room had a projector. So once when the teacher was ill and no replacement came, we were in that room. Someone started the projector and quickly found out that every P site he tried is blacklisted. But playing from USB apparently works fine. We later found out, not only are the connections whitelisted, but also fully monitored. Not long after the movie show with sound and everything started, the IT tech guy comes with a substitute teacher. That internet search history was apparently enough for them to suddenly have a substitute teacher for us. We were around 16 or 18 males if I recall correctly and 4 girls in class. I can't remember how many were there that day. I like that he was casually walking around school with a flash drive of pee. Was walking around outside my high school and saw a dude leaning up against a wall getting a BJ. They didn't see me so I quietly turned around and walked away. Girl gave a BJ to a guy and his friends filmed it. It was the talk of the school and she changed schools. 2 years later she came back and sucked a different guy's dong by the same dumpster. No one filmed it this time. Some kid at a party got blackout wasted and shat himself. In the middle of the crowd he took his pants down and slipped in it. Proceeded to army crawl to try and make it out but just smeared it everywhere. He is still known as the party pooper. Incredible nickname. In band before a football game, I walk into the percussion room to hang with the homies. Everyone is huddled around this dude in the corner of the room laughing. So of course I walk over to check it out. Turns out the dude was showing everyone how tiny his dong is and everyone was so fascinated. Yeah, it was really small. Like from the tip of your pinky to the first knuckle down. I've never seen anything like it, lol. I know it called a microdong. Lomfeo. Props to the dude for having the confidence to show everyone though. A creepy 45-year-old teacher was caught watching pee twice by the same girl, and both times it was a Braves fetish and a schoolgirl thing, and the girl that caught him wore skirts and had braces. No, he was never fired or even talked to after going to the board, and yes, this is public school. Freshman year of high school. Football team is out practicing. A senior varsity player came into the freshman locker room, cut all the locks off our lockers, and stole our clothes. Nice enough to take wallets and phones etc out of pockets and leave them in the lockers though. Idiot didn't realize the hallway cameras had him the whole time. Most of us chose not to shower until we got home, and as a team proceeded to leave in groups in undershirts and boxers or no shirts and boxers after getting a call our rides were there. Small town, small school, so ultimately he was just benched for a few games, suspended for a day or two, and his parents had to buy a bunch of padlocks. Pretty reasonable outcome, actually. In middle school, some kids walked in and started fricking in the stall next to me while I was pooping. Eventually they smelt my presence. Go to assert your dominance. When I was in middle school, someone jerked off and finished on his desk in the middle of class. The story is legend in our area, and it's been retold so many times that it's hard to figure out what actually happened after he finished. So I'll give you each ending I've heard from different people. 1. He finished and it shot across his desk onto the girl's hair in front of him. 2. The teacher heard something happening, went over and saw it on the desk and put her finger in it. 3. He just cummed over himself and got kicked out of class. He got suspended and a few years later got caught peeing outside and put on the diddlers list. The guy is really funny and pretty chill now. He has a lot of stories about him and they're all amazing. It's weird that it was him peeing outside as opposed to him masturbating in class that got him put on the diddler list. I'm in HS theater class and have been helping the teacher out with a lot of tasks like setting up the green room and stuff. Just little helpful stuff. Well, apparently one of us left the door unlocked and unattended for a little too long. In our green room were 2 big blue couches that were the most uncomfortable things I had ever sat on. Teacher comes running into the room from the hall and says suddenly, "Tequila, I think someone is in the green room. Go with me so I can have a witness." Thinking nothing of it, I go. We stand by the door and someone is most deaf in there, making some pretty unusual sounds. I realize what the sound is a half second before the teacher throws the door open to 2 kids from my class getting down on that couch. I only had like 2 seconds of view time before the teacher screams, "Good golly Miss Molly," and slams the door. I sat outside that door crying from laughing for about 20 minutes before they knocked on the door to be let out, realizing we had the stage completely locked down. The look on their faces when the principal let them out and led them to his office will forever be in my mind. Can you imagine? Balls deep about to blow and from over your shoulder, "Good golly Miss Molly," I dream of it sometimes and still wake up laughing. 20 minutes before they knocked on the door to be let out. Wonder if they finished. Not me, but a few freshmen encountered sophomores fricking on a hill my school had for cross country and I think football. And then someone marked that hill on Google Maps. Fresh jizz on a locker room bench. A kid pulled his pants down in Spanish class and pee in the corner. A kid with a mental handicap who would vigorously masturbate in AP political science at least once a week. One day in AP policy, the kid with Asperger's sat alone in a row of empty chairs all closely placed together directly in front of the teacher. In the middle of class, he reclined across 4 adjacent seats and went to work in his pants. At my angle, I could see everything. The tent. His forearm pistoning up and down. The veins in his neck. He stuck out his tongue and curled his toes, taunting us like that for 5, maybe 10 seconds, before the teacher shouted at him. This kid did weird crap, but he was in a number of my AP classes and, I think, legitimately earned his way. He carried our team's butt in AP Brit Lit junior year during in-class Jeopardy games. And way too many of y'all shared this pee in Spanish class experience for us to be in the same class. What's going on out there? We had a handicapped jerker too. One time he whipped it out walking down the hall between class and went to town laughing his butt off. The hall was full of people. Apparently it was huge. What happens in the locker room should stay in the locker room. With that said, I once walked in on a kid shoving a crucifix up his butt on a dare from his friends. A bunch of kids did the deed under the bleachers during a pep rally. Nobody knew until they found multiple used condoms while cleaning up. Lights stay on at homecoming because people will frick on the bleachers. No blankets for obvious reasons. On every field trip someone gets fingered on the bus. Teachers have learned not to look into cars before school. I live in the Midwest though, so there's not much else to do. The janitor didn't cordon off the area when someone spilled a large half-gallon of milk. One student ran into cafeteria, slipped and busted his butt. The janitor was suspended for 1 day. What school offers half gallons of milk? A bunch of guys from the athletics class got mad at a kid from mine for cheating during dodgeball, so they walked into the locker room freaking naked and whipped him with towels. I just walk in and see someone's dong flopping around like a corrupted body part in a PS1 game before he leaps off the bench and goes apeshit on the guy. I noped the frick out and waited in the hallway with everyone else. Before anyone asks why didn't I or anyone else help. The coaches were nowhere to be found and we were scrawny freshmen against football and wrestling players in good shape. The guy eventually comes out drenched in sweat, calls us buttholes, then kicked one of our backpacks. This was in the 90s. 2 people were caught freaking behind the curtain on the gym stage by the master of custodial arts, or janitor, if you want to be a dong about it. He said hi to both and walked out. Dave was cool. A junior boy filmed 2 sophomore girls freaking and, of course, he made copies and passed them around. One copy landed in the dean's hands and she called both girls and their parents in and freaking watched IT. There were definitely girls snorting coke in the bathrooms. Teachers choking out and punching kids. You know, the usual. Master of custodial arts sounds like sous chef at Wendy's. Apparently a senior last year got a BJ in the cafeteria during lunch, then afterwards stood up in front of everybody, dong hanging out, and yelled I'm the king of the world, and then 2 girls were found fricking in the cafeteria during lunch. This is NSW in a different way than most of the stories here, but when I was in high school I liked to go to the balcony of our theater to take naps during my free periods. It was dark, quiet, and usually empty, which made it such an ideal spot for napping. One day I walk up the stairs and see a girl from the grade below me that I sort of knew cutting herself with scissors. She freaked out and ran away. I eventually caught up with her and we had an intense conversation. We became friends after that day and I encouraged her to start seeing a therapist, which helped her a lot. Unfortunately, we lost touch when her parents moved to a different state and sent her to some boarding school. You did great, man, hopefully she got better. One of the popular kids who rode my bus got caught whacking it with his sister's panties by his buddy who also rode our bus. His time of bus dominance immediately came to a screeching halt. In middle school we went on a field trip to the county jail. IDK man, for some reason, went in to see the showers and I was behind with my friend. Some boys in the class went in first and then my very sheltered religious friend went in. All of a sudden she started screaming and it turns out an inmate that they somehow forgot to get out of the showers was spanking the monkey, right then and there, in front of middle schoolers. Freshman year, I needed to go take a pee and I just hear loud clicking and smacking noises in the stall next to me. An hour later I found a dude was having a girl suck him. Worst part was said girl was dating a different guy. I don't think they're dating anymore. Not really NSW, but when I was in elementary school I was getting my little sister's homework because she went home sick and I walked into her teacher's classroom. She was sitting there with my gym teacher all giggly. They ended up getting married, having a family, and the gym teacher is now the principal of the high school. He is a great guy. I told him about that day I walked into that class and he had a big laugh. I've been out of school since 2013 but him and I still keep in touch. The gym teacher was in the classroom with my sister's teacher, not my sister. The 2 teachers are now married. Please don't call the FBI. What the frick? Oh man. We were at the football game and were high as crap. It was among my first few times smoking. We started fricking around in the woods, which was a decent distance away. Next thing you know, this naked senior comes running by screaming and then we see flashlights like way behind him and got paranoid as crap. We all started sprinting along with him and ran so fricking far. After we got away we all threw up and went our separate ways. Witnessed some girl wearing underwear, a tank top no bra, and shoes getting escorted out of the school's front doors. Never learned the story behind that. Didn't walk in on it, but a kid was caught jerking off to hentai on one of the school computers. They had to get rid of the computer after he was caught. One morning during recess, the neighbor, whose property was only separated from the school field by a little wire fence, small town New Zealand, came out and started sharpening his axe. He then called the kids over and cut the heads of his 3 puppies off in front of us. This was in primary elementary school. What the frick? In 11th grade English, the desks were in a U shape, so some students were facing each other from across the room. This is important later on. So I had a few girls in my class I thought were attractive, and there was this one girl who was a cheerleader. She sat directly across from me so I could see her face rather than the back of her head. So anyways, because I was able to see her face, I was also able to see the rest of the front of her body. So one day while my teacher is reading us a book, this girl was wearing a fairly short skirt. I happened to just glance and saw up it. Being a frisky 16-17-year-old, I'd glanced here and there. Eventually, she noticed, and you would think that when you notice someone looking, you'd close your legs. The opposite happened. I had been wearing athletic shorts as it was a hot April day, so this girl is spreading her legs whilst wearing a short skirt and a thong. She kept looking at me and kept spreading until she couldn't spread much further. I obviously had a boner, and I'm almost certain she must have seen cause she was biting her lip, and I swear to God, I could have sworn she'd moved her thong over just enough to show her glory hole slightly. Now keep in mind, there was maybe 10 people in that class including me, and the side I was on had 5 or so of us and was majority girls with the exception of me and a gay guy, so she was definitely showing me. Being awkward as heck though, I never bothered to talk to her much or anything, so I never got any chance to ask her out or anything, but that was probably the hottest thing I'd seen in high school. Walked over to the local church where my buddy and resident school 10/10 were last seen. I started using a small flashlight because it was dark as frick and heard rustling near some pine trees. I heard whispering and being sober just flat out yelled, "If you two are fricking, just let me know so I can turn around." UHH. Yeah we are, but my buddy Sean walks out, shirt covering his dong. "Can you go find me a condom, dude?" I walked back to the house. Found a condom in my buddy's room, took it back and laid it down where I got to see the 10/10 naked. Thanks bro. 11th grade everyone. I also have way dumber stories about Sean and our other friend Bobo. If anyone wants to hear about the first time Sean and I went to a strip club, let me know. Way to be a bro. In high school, I was in the stall next to some kid masturbating. The awkward thing was that he was in the girls' bathroom. In middle school, when I was in 8th grade, I walked in on 2 6th graders banging in the bathroom. I noped the frick out. Some kid took a video of another kid jerking it in a stall to some pee. What baffles me is how he was able to get pee on the school iPad. His goals are beyond your understanding. Some 8th graders at my high school, middle school and high school are at the same building, got caught giving oral during class under a table. They got suspended for a week or so, but that's about all that became of that. Mandatory showering after junior high gym in a class with a 2.53 ft tall little person. No one blamed him for punching dongs that swang at him or even just in his general direction. He punched a lot of dongs in their dongs. My high school had a lock-in every year where you basically stayed at the high school and weren't allowed to leave from like 6 PM, midnight. They were usually pretty boring and stupid as crap. BC students had to bring their own consoles and could only bring E-rated games and PG-rated movies. Anyways, there was an upstairs to my school, but it was only 2 rooms. One of them was locked and the other movies were playing in. I was watching movies upstairs, and when I went to use the bathroom up there, I opened the door to a full-on orgy. I mean like 8 kids, and it wasn't even that big of a bathroom. I don't understand why they wouldn't lock the door. I really wish they did, so I didn't see that. I then went downstairs to the locker room, where a bunch of kids, this was the boys' locker room but there was like 10 guys and 10 girls, were playing truth or dare. I was a really shy and unpopular kid, so crap like that was weird for me. One of the girls saw me coming and dared another girl to blow me in front of them. I got really emberies and ran out of there as fast as I could. By that time it was only like 10, so I talked to the person running it and told them that I threw up and they let me leave. I never went to another one of those stupid things after that. Originally it was just 2 people freaking, but if P is anything to go by, if you walk in on someone doing it you have to join in. Apparently you didn't get the memo. In English class, 10th grade, I was sitting next to this dude. For storytelling purposes, named Chad. Chad was always a little weird and never really paid attention in class. He preferred to go on gag websites like Google Gravity and whatnot for the entirety of class, occasionally talking to me and showing off what weird crap he found. That was all good. Then one day, I looked over just out of curiosity for what weird crap he might have found that day. First thing I saw was that his screen was going through the standard Windows Update reboot screen. Then I saw his desk bouncing up and down somewhat. I just figured he was bouncing his legs with some ADHD type energy while he was waiting for his computer to finish updating. So I go back to my work. Few minutes later, he apparently started making sounds. I was unaware of this as I was watching YouTube. These sounds were heard by the group of talkative girls sitting a couple seats over. They, loudly, complained a lot to the teacher. So the teacher walked over and tried talking to Chad. When Chad saw the teacher walking over, he went into panic mode and tried to stealthily hide what he was doing. But naturally, he failed spectacularly and sent his desk forward and actually helped it fall on accident when he tried to save it. So Chad was sitting in his seat, one hand trying to pull his desk back up while the other was desperately grasping the zipper region of his pants. I only learned what happened after the fact, as I have a spectacular ability to ignore what's going on around me when I watch YouTube. However, I found out that he got suspended for a week. However, Chad went down as a legend around my school as the man who rubbed one out during English. He was highly respected among all the boys in the school for the next 2 years, and his reputation spread to the surrounding schools so that when I went to sporting events the opposing teams would ask me about him. Senior year, a guy got caught doing gay pee. He was the jock that got all the girls, super nice car, very good looking. That shook the entire school up. The rumor started on a Friday. Everyone saw it over the weekend, and he had dropped out of school that following Monday. 2 class clowns faking a gay relationship, like faking kisses and stuff. Half naked boys whipping each other with towels in the locker room. Faking. Walking in on people having intimate relations was not uncommon at house parties in high school. However, one time, this girl that I liked was at the same party I was at. She had been flirting with me quite a bit throughout the evening, but at one point she disappeared and was nowhere to be found. Trying to find a restroom, I stumbled into one of the bedrooms to find her getting gangbanged by 3 dudes. Walked out and breathed a huge sigh of relief for dodging that bullet. That's crazy. I had almost the same exact crap happen to me. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.